welcome you all again. Thanks a lot for joining us. I am Arjun S. Meda. I take care of AU content and also I host these monthly meetups. And let me just quickly share my screen. I would like to introduce my speakers and also our PMs. I hope you're all able to see my screen. So today our main goal is to talk about how can you use code analysis and the debug tools. We have two expert speakers who have joined us, like Maulish Kumar Patil. He's a customer success architect with Automation Anywhere. And we also have our guest speaker, Deependra Shekhawat. He's a principal architect, engineering automation at GSK. And he's also our ex-colleague at Automation Anywhere. And if you have watched Automation Anywhere videos on YouTube, he manages a channel called RPA Feed. And along with our speakers, we also have two folks from our product management, Mr. Malcolm and Mr. Hemant. Malcolm and Hemant, do you just want to say hi to all our attendees?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's seminar. I look forward to chatting with you.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Hey, guys. Hi, everyone. This is Hemant.
Okay. Thank you, Hemant. So I'll quickly introduce the agenda for today. We have a action-packed session today. First, we mainly, as we are going to talk about the code analysis features and the debug tools, code analysis features will be introduced by our Maulish Kumar, and debug tools are Deependra will talk about it. And after that, we will have Srilata from Docs team to showcase what they have on the Docs portal regarding these topics. And after that, I'll also talk about what are the latest courses we have launched in Automation Anywhere University. We will talk about the upcoming meetup in the next month. We will have a Q&A session. While the speakers are talking about their topics, feel free to type your questions in the Q&A section. Our product managers and other speakers will also help us answer any questions you have. And before I hand it over to Maulish, I also have something interesting for you. So thanks a lot for joining us. So since you are joining us for this meetup, we are going to select 3 participants, and then you will be notified through email and you will be eligible to get this swag pack. Like, here are the official rules. We'll not go over any of this. It's like a little longer list. So we look forward to sending you some swag packs as well. Okay. And from now, Maulish, can you just check if you're able to share your screen?
Sure, Arjun. Just give me a minute.
Yes, this session will be recorded and we will share the recording. We'll publish this on YouTube and we will also share the links with you.
I think it should be fine. Please let me know when you can see the screen.
This still can't see your screen.
Just a minute, I think. Yep, it should be fine now.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yep. So hi,
and
everyone.
Also, Maulish, just wanted to ask one question before I hand it over. How many of you have used code analysis feature or debug tool? If you have used both, you can type both in the chat window. If you have used either of these features, if you could just let us know what is that you have already tried. We are curious to know about it. Okay, a lot of attendees have actually used both. That is good to know. Okay, Maulish, we've let this come in. Some of the folks have not tried these features, so it'll be a great session, irrespective of if you have used this or not. Our speakers have built some cool demos to show you how to use these features. Thank you, and over to you, Maulish.
Yep, thanks for the introduction, Arjun. So hi, everyone. My name is Maulish, as Arjun mentioned. I'm from customer success team, and I'm going to talk about code analysis and, like, in detail, I would say why you need code analysis and what are the challenges or once you overcome those challenges, what are the benefits of using code analysis and how you can define the code analysis and the different rules. I'm going to explain that in detail in the session. But first thing first, like as Arjun asked, some of you already knows about code analysis, and some of you might be, exploring that after having this session. Yeah, so like as Arjun mentioned, I'm going to talk about code analysis and how you can define policies, policy enforcement, and some of these settings that you need to, go through it. And apart from that, I'll focus about the personas who are involved in the code analysis are mainly the lead developer, or I would say COE lead, and the other people who are involved in the code analysis who are implementing. Actually, it's like the citizen developer or automation developer. So you'll get to know, different, uh, I would say, settings and different rules that I'm going to show that during the demo. Sorry. So let me talk about. Okay. So when we say code analysis, there are a couple of challenges that either the lead developer or developer are facing. That's a low code quality. So if the user who doesn't follow certain code analysis practices, it may be difficult to read that code. That's first part of it. It may be sometime a challenges to a person. Let's say a developer build a bot and it's a complex automation, and he left the company, he or she left the company. But then if a new developer comes, uh, new developer comes, then she or she might face some challenges in terms of understanding the code or some of the best practice he or she doesn't follow it. Maybe it's those kind of challenges will be there. But once you implement, you are restricting the user to say, okay, you need to follow certain rules, like the variable naming conventions should be in a proper casing. Then you cannot just hard coded values, because sometimes in terms of security. So let's say if you hard coded the values, anybody can access it easily. Instead of that, store it in a variable, and then use it almost every place that you want to. And more importantly, when you have a code analysis, I mean, the benefits is when you have a code analysis which is easy to document. So let's say you want to have a structure of the code where you say, okay, that's particular a 10 or 20 lines of code. Get some details from an Excel files, and then uh, set with the record variable, or go through each and every cells and store it in record variable, and then save it in CSV file. So it will be easy for the other individuals, or it's like for a proper documentation, I would say. And the flow of the code will be much more easy to understand. So even if the user has to make some changes in few of the lines of code, they can easily maintain that without taking much efforts into that. So that's the benefit of it. Yep. So it's for lead developer. What are the advantages? Like as I mentioned, it's reducing the code complexities and improving more readability. And more importantly, if they has to refactor some of the complex automation, they can easily able to manage those code with the help of a coding best practice that has been followed. And it will also help to reduce the production time and the cost of automation. Mainly, it's about the manual efforts that has been done, while the uh, best practice hasn't been followed, or there are some violation, whether it's in terms of unused variable, or those rules are there, and I'll be explaining that in detail for sure. Okay, so so that's mainly that's the flow of the lead developers, that, or I would say COA lead or lead developer follows. So they define a set of practice, or I would say set of policies. So they can create and update the policy. They give the policy name. I'm going to show that during the live session, so it will be taken care. And then they can assign it to a specific folder, or if you want to assign it to the, let's say, majority of us has a bot folder. So if you want to assign it at at the default folder, you can assign it, or if you want to assign it to a individual folder, you can do that. Arjun, I think someone is having some question. Arjun?
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to type it out in the Q&A section and we'll be happy to take it.
So that's, I can say, it's a flow for the COE lead or the lead developer, and I'm going to show that, so it will be easy to understand. So rest assured that will be taken care during the live demo. Okay, so what can be the best benefits for the automation developer or citizen developer? It will help them to reduce less errors, and it will be easy to maintain that, and more secure, like as I mentioned, instead of having constant path, or it would be better to use it store it in a variable, or either store it in a control room. So it would be easy, because if the constant or path changes, then they need to make a lot changes in almost majority of the line of code that they have written the static path, and it will help to reduce the automation cost and efforts. That's the main benefit for the citizen developer once they apply the code analysis rules. So that's I could say a flow, but not the flow, but the steps. So as a bot developer, what you need to understand, once you define the code analysis rule, you can see that the violation in your bot editor with the help of bot assistant, and it can identify that, okay, these are the violation that has like a variable name should start with certain character, and the first line of the bot should be having header comments once you apply it. Or you can also say that when there is a try block, that should be a catch block, or you can put the definitely a code between certain try and catch block. That information is there. Once I show the demo, that will be there, and it will be taken care. Okay, so once you define the policies, right, you can able to see, go to your, so administration, or I would say the lead developer has an access of control room, and he or she can able to see the policies step. And first and foremost things, before you apply the policies, you need to make sure that the code analysis policy should be enabled. So that is the first step. So once you enable the code analysis policies, that's the first part of it, and then you can set the different code analysis policies, and these are the rules. So like as I said, there are like during this session, I'm going to cover like variable name pattern. There is a hard-coded values, unused variable, just to keep it, and a mandatory header comments. So I'll try to cover those rules that I'm going to show during the demo. All right, so there are some code analysis rules, as I can say, for majority of us follows that, but to make it more simpler. So variable names one of the rules is variable name starts with either camel casing, as the first letter is smaller, and the other letters are in a capital letter. That's a camel casing. Pascal casing is like you define the variable name starts, the first letter is capital, and in between, if you have a lengthy name, you can keep it like first name, first is a capital, and a name should be a capital as well. That's a Pascal casing. Kebab casing is another variable naming pattern where you can use a dash between the variable name. And snake case is almost similar. Only difference is you can put it underscore instead of dash, as you can see in the screenshot. So there are certain rules as well. You can see the different tables. So these are the rules which is available. But I would say in the beginning, you can start implementing these rules for the development environment, and start analyzing it, that which rules it's more comfortable for the user to move from from dev to UAT, and then UAT to production. But these are the a total, I would say, almost 10 to 12 different rules that you can set it. as a bot development best practice. Okay, so once you run, once you go into the automation, you can able to see this assistant. Just like in this example, it says the bot is with a high severity prompt assignment, right? So that is an indicator that shows your code is having some issues. So you can see that's issue browser. And to let you know that from version, like as far as I know, from version 26 onwards, you can have those code analysis. And more importantly, I would say the most critical part is, so code analysis, you can apply it to the new bot as well as the existing bot that you had built. So it might be possible that the existing bot or the existing complex automation that you have built might has some of the, some violation, just like as you can see, these are the information is there, right? So you can able to see that into the window of the assistant. And once, last but not least, you can have the result of code analysis. That is, your bot doesn't have either, bot doesn't scan it. It does have some of the high severity. So let me just show you just at high level. So in this case, at the top of your control room, there is a widget called code analysis. So you can see, like, because this bot that I built, that was built way before the code analysis has been implemented. So that might be, I put it for the demo, I put it for high severity, but for your reference, you can put it either low severity, no violation, or not scan. Not scan means you haven't done the bot analysis, code analysis reports. So that's the part of information that I'm going to share. So let me start with the demo. If ever, Arjun, should be fine.
Yes, yeah, please proceed. There are some questions coming in. However, Malcolm is answering them, so you should be okay.
Yeah, okay. So first thing first, like as I mentioned, what you need to do, go to the settings in the control room, and you can check this, in the policies part. First, make it this enabled. So whenever you make code analysis enabled, you can able to see that feature within your, bot developer. So as an admin, I'm showing you that. That's the first part of it. Now, once you set that, you go to the policies, right? And apart from that, there is one more things I would like to show. So before you define the policies, go to the roles. So inside of the role, you can able to see certain permissions which will be helpful when you define it. So this is the code analysis policy and enforcement. So as a lead developer, you can able to set this. So let's say, for example, if I want to make sure that the user doesn't have does have high severity violation, he or she cannot be able to check in the bot. So that is the best part of it. And apart from that, as a lead developer, they can have this permission at the bottom. So the lead developer or COE lead can manage this. They can have permission to view the policy. They can manage the policies as well. And that's a part of a role. So you can assign it this roles to a user that you want to implement the code analysis best practices, right? So let me go to the, okay, I'm just leaving it because I don't want to keep that. So as you can see, this policy tab is there. What I'm going to do, I'm creating a new policy. So let's say test policy 1, sorry, my bad. 1, 2, because that is already defined. I can put try and catch block just for easy one. Then variable name pattern, that's the one. Unused variable, that's the third one, and the mandatory comments. I just want to keep it this 4 to make it more simpler. And once I define it, just hold on a second, I can make changes. So as you can see, I have defined the policy. Now, once you define the policy, you can assign it. So go to the assign tab. And now, as you can see, you have a default folder. So make it more simpler. I just put it, for the folder, like let's say, for example, for the AU bot or sample bots. So it will be easier, for me to say, instead of applying policy, to default folder, which implements all the subfolders. Instead of that, it will be easier to put it for a individual, folder. So just say it, for example, I'm just applying for AAU bot, and then you can use this assign policy, and it will ask the policy name. So just for this reference, I'm just putting policy 1, 2 and assign it. So the first step as an admin has been done, right? So now I can log in as a bot creator. So once I log in as a bot creator, even you can see the code analysis review here as well in the widget, in the home widget, right? So I go to the automation, and I have like, in AU bot folder, I already applied that. So I can do that. You can see that. And hopefully, you can able to see some of the errors, or I would say suggestions, right? You can see that's the issue browser. Now, these are the code analysis, I would say assistant is there. You can see there are 4 violation, right? So I need to say, okay, bot has low 1 severity. So if I click on that, it says mandatory headed commit. So what I'm going to do, I just add that comment before the start of step. So I'll just put it between, and it said, okay, just say testing comment, right? So once I do that, and if you run it, the assistant again, you can see there's 3, right? So same case, and it will also shows you the line where you need to. So there is a, okay, try and catch coverage. So what I'm going to do, I keep this one for a while, and then I try to remove this one. It says prompt assignment. See, variable prompt assignment, unused variable. So what you need to do, it is available for both, for test variable as well, right? So I'm just removing this 2 variable for a safer, for a safer run. And once I just say save, you can see there's only 1 violation which is there. Now what I'm going to do, I put this code of step in between try and catch block. So I just put the action and put try error handler, right? So I put this one here, right, and drag this code between, and in the catch, I just write, so it said, okay, message box, right? So just put it message box and just put the test just for a reference, right? And as you can see, when I see it, okay, issue browser is gone. So that's the benefit, of the code. And like as I mentioned, this code has been written way back before, like let's say 1 year ago, where that feature was not available, or in the initial phase of it. And the last but not least, you go to automation, and you can select, there is the report here. If you scroll down here, you see that now there is no violation, right? And you can run the code analysis report here as well, right? So run code analysis. What it does, it will have a Excel file for it, so you can able to see whether your code has any any questions or concern. So thanks everyone. That's all from my side for the code analysis. Hope you enjoy it, and feel free to ask any questions to me or Malcolm.
Thank you, Maulish. Are there any questions for Maulish before we have Deependra present on the next part? I do see some of the questions which are coming, and I think most of the questions have been answered. Malcolm, do you want to share something related to this code analysis before Deependra takes over?
Sure. Yeah, I'm still processing the questions that are coming in. I would
Okay.
encourage the audience to keep asking if I'm not answering the question directly, or if I didn't understand the nature of their questions. With code analysis, the thing I want to emphasize is that we understand that older automation projects are probably not built with the benefit of code analysis. So you might see if you apply a stringent policy to older projects, to folders that contain existing automations, etc., that it might be restrictive in terms of if that is in production and you have an error in it that you want to edit and debug or make an improvement to that automation file. If it's in production and it was produced without the benefit of code analysis, you're going to want to put policies that are less restrictive and at lower severity, and then progressively just make repairs and modifications to bring it up. I think the main benefit to consider when you're implementing a code quality program with code analysis is to emphasize the newer projects that you're just getting started and have more stringent policies there. You also use the combination of the permissions in the roles for allowing enforcement for low or high, to basically phase in best practices. So you might allow people to check in with low severity violations, but restrict them from checking in with high. And it's kind of opposite to what you might think. In that case, you put the things that you want them to do later as a lower severity, right? Where the things you want them to do now, you set those rules at a high severity, and then you can enforce it and then slowly ratchet it up by adjusting the severities in the policy and or adjusting the permissions in the role. That's all I had. Malish, thank you for a great presentation.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Next, we will hand it over to Deependra to take us through how to use debug tool.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Arjun. So before I share my screen, I'd like to just say hi to the audience, and most probably should know me, if not by face, by voice, if they might have heard any of the video. I've created a lot of videos on E360 on my channel. So yeah, with that, let me share my screen and just let me know once it's visible.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Arjun. Thanks, Maulish, for the session. And so this is second part of the session where we cover debugging tools. So just to walk you through, unfortunately, my cam is not working. So yeah, so just to walk you through what I'm going to cover as part of debugging tools is what exactly do we mean by debugging, why we need debugging, and then the options or features that are available in Automation 360 to debug a task bot. After that, I'll be sharing a live demo where we will actually debug a task bot. So with that, let's get started. To understand the term debugging, right? Debugging is the process of identifying or analyzing software bugs. It is not only relevant to automation, it's relevant to across software development or software engineering industry. So it is the process of where we identify or remove errors or bug in a software program. So in this case, it's taskbot. It's an automation where we try to identify and remove errors. What it involves? This involves running our software program. In this case, it's taskbot. We have to run our taskbot and keep on checking, tracking what is the source of error, from where we are getting this issue or errors, right? In order to know that, we have to run our bot repetitively and place some breakpoints. I'll come to that term later. Then you might ask, what is the goal? What is the goal of debugging? The goal is to ensure that our task bot or our automation operates correctly and efficiently, right? So this debugging, right, it can range from a simple syntax correction or a complex logic corrections and performance optimization. With the help of debugging, you can build efficient bots. You can identify certain areas where there is a code leakage, if any, or you can also loop through the concept where you identify how this particular piece of logic is working. So you can identify the gaps. So why do we need debugging? I mean, if someone directly builds a bot and they can just test it out and everything is working as expected and they can productionize the bot. But I mean, even if there are no errors or no known errors, I would say, your bot is running fine, then you don't need debugging. But I mean, this would add an additional layer for the developers, that you can take certain measures like some corrections in the error, reliability of the bot, then optimization. I mean, this is very, very critical, right? You have to optimize whatever bot you have built, you must optimize it so that it gives you best performance in the production. Then security is one aspect. So you have to detect and remove vulnerabilities. Any open end line of code that attacker may try to inject their code. For example, so if you are using REST APIs, right, you have to make sure that headers are passed properly. You are not leaving any gaps there to exploit your API headers. This was one of such example where the security aspect come into picture. Then improve in the user experience, like you make sure that there are no unexpected crashes of your bot. And then maintainability. So these are some points where we understand why actually we need debugging. Then moving on to the next is the debugging options that are available in Automation 360 platform. So if you can see in the image, this is a small debug menu and an assistant. So from the previous session, if you know that Maulish has already presented this assistant option where you were seeing the code analysis errors, right? So in the same assistant window, you can also use the debug options. So these are some shortcut keys which I have mentioned for debugging and enabling breakpoints, finding the code or finding variables in the code. So I think enough of talking. Let's move on to the actual demo where we will debug a live bot. Pressing F10 will not start the debugging. It will just let you open the debug menu. Okay. So let me switch over. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I'm taking one of the example from board games, board game force. If you guys remember, there was one challenge called resiliency challenge. I'm taking that for this example. Okay. So suppose this is your production bot, and you have n number of lines of code, and like you found there is some issue with the bot and you are not able to figure it out. With the help of logs and exception handling or message boxes, there are ways you can debug this. But this is better way to debug your automation, like this debug option. So what you will do is you will you will establish or you will enable the breakpoints. For example, I want to debug my code. I'm sure that at line number till line number 5, I'm fine with the logic, but I want to find out what is happening after line number 5. So I will just enable the breakpoint. So in order to enable a breakpoint, you just need to click here. It's a toggle button. So once you click, it will enable or disable the breakpoint. So let's say let's establish randomly few breakpoints. Okay. So this is how I have just enabled few breakpoints at few of the places. So this feature can be used in flow view as well as in the list view. But for better readability or better visibility, we'll use list view. Okay. And one more thing, if you hit this debug button, so you have to make sure before debugging your bot, you have to make sure that there are no validation error. What I mean by validation error. So for example, if you are using a command to read file and you have not provided a file, so that is a validation error. The command is incomplete. So in that case, you will not be able to run this debug and you will not be able to use debug options. Okay. So you have to make sure there are no validation errors. All the commands that you are using here are complete. So let me save this and click on debug option. So as soon as you click debug option, you're provided this assistant window. And if I click back here, you can see the issue browser where you get the code analysis errors, warnings errors, and you see this advanced search and replace options. So you can also use. So this assistant window is a multi-purpose window. Now, for now, we'll focus on debug. So in this debug menu, you see only three icons, right? Start debugging, step into, and stop debugging. So let me start debugging. So as soon as I click on start debugging button, you see here, the taskbot is now in debug mode. So it will just run because I have my breakpoint at line number 5, right? So till that line it will execute. And let me go back to there. Yeah. So at line number 8, we have enabled the breakpoint. So it is paused over there, right? It requires action, developers action to proceed further. So now it's up to you what what action you take. You can either continue to the next breakpoint, or you can do a step into next action. So step into option is to, like, if you want to debug step by step from your breakpoint. But if you think this is fine and I just want to jump over to the next breakpoint, then you just click on again F5 or this start button. So for now, let me click on step into next action or F6. So it will just navigate one by one all these steps. Okay. See, it is trying to open. And now let me tell you this watched variable concept. So as at the moment, there are no variables that we are watching for the values. In this automation, I have used a lot of variables, but you don't see any of them. So we can add those variables from here, either from this button or from here. So let's say I want to add city DOM. So you can just view the value here. You can edit it, or you can remove it from the watch list. For now, I mean, I'll just try to see the values. What are the values? For example, now I'm just trying to open a CSV here and read the data to and store it to the table variable. So let me just navigate till here, till this loop. I'll just hit next to continue to the next breakpoint, and now it is here. So I expect there is some data in the table variable. So if you go here, you see table from CSV. There is one my table type variable. If I see this, it will show me the values in the debug mode. So you can just try to debug it if in case if you are facing any challenges with the data, or if you're facing any error while reading and converting that data into a table variable. So all that you can debug with the in-memory object. Okay. For now, let me close this. So in this way, you can add whatever variables you want. In your automation, you don't need all the variables to watch, right? So you can just add those, and those will be shown up at the top. And now, yeah, if you want to search any variable, for example, you are tracking one variable, let's say street address. So you want to search that variable across entire taskbot wherever it is referenced. So you can just type in street address, and that will show up. All the references to that variable will show up. Like it can find 4 results. You can navigate using these options. and it will help you to navigate across the bot, and you can determine where it is getting initialized or reinitialized, and in that way you can try to debug your task bot. Then if you, let's say if you are done with the debugging and you don't want the debug, like don't want this automation in a debug, uh, deep in a debug mode, or you don't want these breakpoints to be appearing. So what you can do is you can just click this button or shift plus F9 to clear all the breakpoints at once. Or if you are still in the debug mode, but you're sure that up to line number 15 you're fine, then you can remove those breakpoints one by one. Apart from debugging, I mean, the standard practices, error handling, logging, that has to be followed. This is just an additional capability or additional hand given to the developer to debug their bots, task bots, and identify glitches or errors in the software program or in the task bot. Okay. Apart from this, I think that was it. If any questions I can take. I mean,
Yeah, like Malcolm and Hemant are already answering the questions.
okay. Just a one point I would like to add. There is a generic question being raised, like can we debug the, child bots? Like if we have a master bot and then subsequent child bots, that is not possible at the moment. So we can just uh, only debug one bot at a time, whether it's a master bot or a child bot. So no reference passing from parent to child. That's not available right now.
Yeah, Hemant is going to talk about it, about that. Hemant, do you want to just add on?
Yeah. So Dipender, I believe you're using the .32 version where
That's
you
correct.
can currently debug only one task bot at a time. But in the upcoming .33 release, we are introducing the support for debugging child automation, in which case we are introducing step in and step out actions in the debug control, so that whenever you have a call to a child task, you can easily apply the step in action, which will eventually open the child task bot there itself within the same canvas. At the same time, you can also see a call stack view through which you can get the order or the sequence in which each of these child bots are being called. And along with those individual child bots, you can also add watch variables for a specific bot that you're currently debugging. So all of these new enhancements are upcoming in the .33 release, which will basically simplify or improve the overall debugging experience.
That's a great news. Thanks for sharing.
Just to give you a glimpse of how this will look like, can I share my screen?
Sure.
Deependra, do you have anything else to cover, or is it okay to
I'm done.
share
I'm
it?
done. I'm done.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Deependra.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So here are nothing but the screenshots of those new enhancements. So like here, as you see, whenever there is a call to a child bot, then we enable these two actions within the debug control, that is step in and step out. So let's say if you have put a breakpoint within the child bot and you want to debug the child bot, then you can click this step in action, which will open the child bot right there itself. And then at the top, you will see a drop down, which will list all the automations that you're trying to step in while debugging. At the same time, each time you do a step in, your call stack will grow in the reverse order. So the current bot that you're debugging will be on top of the stack, and the first bot that you've started debugging with will be at the bottom of the stack. So a call stack view will be available where you are able to see all the automations that you have stepped in. And at any point in time, if you want to navigate from one child pod to the another child pod during the debug session, you can easily navigate and you can inspect the variable and their corresponding value at that point in time. Similarly, in the main canvas, you will have this drop down where you can also see the same call stack view. So if you want to navigate from one bot to the another while you're debugging, then you can easily do so in the same canvas. Moving further, in terms of watch variables, currently you can add or remove watch variables for the current parent bot that you're debugging. However, when you upgrade to .33 release, and then when you're debugging multiple automations, as and when you select the child bot that you've stepped in, you have the ability to open this watch variable window where you can see the list of variables that are applicable or relevant to the current bot. You can add them. You can then view the current value of those automations. At any point in time, if you want to change the value of the variable and see how the execution behaves, then you can easily go ahead with this edit icon to edit the value. While editing, you can also see the properties of this variable so that you no longer have to go to the variable manager to see whether this variable was used as an input or an output or whether this variable is a constant. So you can easily edit the variable value right in the same debug session, and then in the next subsequent call, wherever the variable is being used, it will utilize the new value that you have already set. At the same time, you would also see that all the shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts for the debug control actions have been revamped in order to make it consistent and more readable. So you have F6 to start the debugging or to pause and continue. Shift F6 will allow you to stop the debugging. Then F7 will allow you to do a step over from one action to another. F8 is the new shortcut key that we have introduced to step into a particular child bot. And as and when if you want to say step out from a child bot, then you can use Shift plus F8. If you want to enable, disable, or toggle the breakpoints, then you can use F9. If you want to toggle all the breakpoints, then you can use Shift plus F9. And if you want to open the debug tool, then you can use F10. So all the shortcuts within the keyboard shortcut view has been revamped in order to make it consistent. So with .33, the debugging will be much more simpler. You will be able to debug the entire automation end to end, starting from the parent automation till the last child bot being called in the automation. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you. If you have any question, I'll be happy to take it in the Q&A window.
Thank you, Hemant.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, there are some questions. Maybe you can help us answer, Hemant. And next we will move on. Like whenever any of these features come out, we also want to ensure we give you enough learning content. So next I would like to invite Srilata to take us through what's available in Docs portal about both these topics. Srilata?
Thank you, Arjun. Good morning, good evening, everyone. I'm Srilata from the documentation team, and I want to take you through our documentation portal where we have documented these code analysis as well as the debugger feature. Okay, just give me a second. I'll share my screen. Arjun, for some reason, I'm not able to share my video.
Okay.
I think you
no
need
problem.
to enable it. That's what it says. All right. I hope my screen is visible. Arjun, can you confirm?
Yes, it is.
All right. So go to the docs portal, please type in docs.automationanywhere.com. So it would be good if you are logged into our portal. So you can log in using your credentials. Now, I'll go with the first feature, which is code analysis. So I would just type code analysis, or even you can type code review, which will pull up this documentation on code analysis. Just a bit. Just a second. I'll just check what is the. Okay. Seem to be experiencing some issue. Just give me a second.
Sure.
All right, I'll reshare my screen.
Okay.
My screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay, so when I type code analysis, or even you can type code review, you would see these set of topics come up. So right at the top is the topic, which is the main topic for code analysis. So you can see in the TOC on the left-hand side, where you have a number of child topics, which goes into more details about this feature. In this main topic, we talk about, we have used a lot of illustrations like flow diagrams or even screenshots and videos, small micro animations to explain this concept better. So what we have done in this main topic is gone about what is code analysis and what are the benefits, why do you need it? As it was already demoed to you, explained to you why you need it, we have brought out those in this particular topic, the main topic. And also we go into details about code analysis for different user rules for an administrator as to how they would go about assigning the policies, creating the policies. And we have a small flow diagram here which defines it. It gives you at one look how do you go about doing that. And as a developer or a professional or a citizen developer, how do you use this feature for your automations? We also talk about the permissions, how to enable it, and what are the different components in the code analysis. So this is what we cover in the main feature. And if you see in the subsequent child topics, we talk about different things like policy management, right? How do you apply policies? You had quite a few questions on this particular. How do you, there are multiple policies. Can we do custom and all that? So we cover exactly how do you do this policy management? How do you enable it? And what is the impact of it? And stuff like that. And we also have, as I told earlier, a small video which shows you how to create these or enable these policies. Apart from that, we talk about rules. Then we talk about how do you check out the code analysis results, how do you read these reports, and also something called enforcing these policies, right? So we give you a bit more of a conceptual information on this as to what are the permissions. Again, you see how it affects each role and stuff like that with an example, so that this illustration would help you understand what we have explained in this concept better. Now, we also have set it in such a way that code analysis runs in the background, but you could also run code analysis by yourself, let's say, in either of your workspaces. So how do you do that? So all these are covered in this particular topic. Now coming to debugger. So this is the topic we have. Again, you could do a search and do a debug search and come to this topic. So here we are talking about how do you use this debugger tool? What are the different controls you have and what do they do? And also adding the breakpoints. What are watched variables? And how do you add these variables and how do you edit these variables? So these are some of the information we have covered for debugger. Again, we believe in using a lot of illustrations to enhance our content so that it is consumed effectively. Now this is about the topics we have on the docs portal. There are some cool features of our docs portal which I want to take you all through today. As Hemant was mentioning, there were quite a few questions about debugger. What are about the upcoming features? So up to .32, this is what we have, which is already documented and out for your consumption. But in the upcoming releases, we have certain enhancements coming up for those. Now, there is a way. If you're following a particular topic, you could add it as, you could add it, start watching those topics by clicking this button here, the I button here. So what happens is any new addition to this topic or any updates to this topic, you will receive a notification saying that, hey, there is something which is changed in this topic, and that's how you could immediately look at it and get that information. So this is what you can do to watch a particular topic. Now that apart, you could also there could be certain features which is you're more interested in or you follow. You could use this particular feature saying add to my topics. So this way you could create your own collection of topics so that you could, it's kind of works like a favorite button. So this is the one you use to add to your topics. Now we welcome your feedback. All feedback is very valuable to us. Your suggestions and feedback to improve the usability of our content is very welcome. So please do share the feedback. We would love to hear from you. And to provide feedback, please click this button right at the top, right at the top at the right side. So when you click this button for the feedback, this is one way of giving the feedback, or you could go right at the bottom of the page and use this like or dislike button. So when you click that, it brings up the same screen. You give us more details about what is the query and what you would like to see in the content, but ensure that if you're logged in, your email is automatically captured. Else, please ensure that you enter your email ID here. This helps us serve you better, right? Because if there are any further queries, we would like to know from you before making those changes. This helps us contact you. And once you provide your feedback and you say send feedback, automatically it triggers an action through a ticket for us, and we can get to addressing your feedback. So this is very important to us. So please provide feedback. I hope you found this useful. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Over to
Srilata,
you.
for showing us how to kind of look at different topics and also giving us feedback. So yeah, we highly encourage you to give us any feedback, whether it's simple, complex, you're not able to follow along any topic, or you need something additional. Please do let us know. We are always open to look forward to additional feedback and making our assets more useful to you. Okay. Malcolm, did you have anything else to talk related to your feature?
No, there were a lot of great questions. Some of the questions infer some features that we're looking at in the future. So, look for those to come. We are continuing to build on code analysis, so we will be implementing more rules and complex rules and custom rules that a lot of the people were asking about. I'm going to get the attendee list and send out some additional email after this to the attendees, soliciting individual feedback and ideas for future enhancements. So I really appreciate everyone. I wanted to emphasize what Srilata said in that giving the documentation feedback, it really works. When you give feedback to that documentation, like if it's for code analysis, Srilata reaches out to me almost immediately. So we do improve the documentation based on your feedback. So I encourage everyone to do it. And thank you for participating today, everyone. That's all I had to say.
Okay, thank you, Malcolm. And let me also just show you a couple of more informative slides we have. Let me know once you're able to see my screen. So on Automation Anywhere University, we continuously publish new content for all the topics. And the recent release was about the Delta training for the .32 release. So whenever a release comes out, we talk about the top 5 features in that release and also deep dive into each of these topics as well. So please take a look at this content. And do let us know if you like something. If you don't like something, we are always happy to take a look at it. I'll also share the links with you for this learning trail so that you know how do you access this training. So this is about the training we have. Also, we have this monthly meetup. So in the next month, we're going to talk about how can you build API, custom API packages with connector builder. We'll show you what do we mean by connector builder. It's essentially like a custom package builder. And then we'll show you all the steps of how do you create those packages, how easy it is for you to consume any of your APIs, whether it is external APIs or your own internal APIs, how do you publish them, and also how can you edit any of these. So I will share this link with you in the chat window. We will also share this in the follow-up email. So feel free to join us for the next session. And then we have a few more minutes in case if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And here are our coordinates if you want to connect. So I've shared my LinkedIn profile. Maulesh has shared it. And for Deependra, he is very active on the LinkedIn as well as YouTube. So Deependra, do you just want to showcase, share maybe your links? I can probably share this here as well. So feel free to join us and kind of share your feedback. He creates amazing content. So feel free to take a look at his content as well. And I would like to take your feedbacks. We don't want to take your feedback just in any internal links or so. Instead, we have just posted on LinkedIn about asking everybody to join us for this session. So I've shared that link now. If you could take like 30 seconds to 60 seconds and just type out whatever you liked about this session, we would be happy about it. And it would also let the session reach a lot more people. So that's the reason we would like to receive feedback from you. Okay, I think we have answered most of the questions. In case if there were any questions which were left out, we will take it up and we will post it once the article is ready to share it on the community portal. You will hear back from this as well. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us. And thanks a lot for all the speakers for helping us out to answer a lot of questions. So we had over 50 questions. So we are very happy that we see that the participants are very active and engaged with these sessions. And also, if you are interested to let us know, like which are the topics you would like to hear from us, feel free to email us at community@automationanywhere.com so that we can take up those topics as well in the future. So thanks again for all the speakers and all the attendees for joining us today. Have a good day. And for somebody who's joining from the US time zones, have a good day. And for the rest of you, have a good rest of your day. Thank you, everyone, and take care. Bye.
I know.
Thank you,
Thanks
Arjun.
all.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Arjun.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Arjun.